Rob said he's coming late.
Yeah. But we're not by him.
The August 6th special meeting of the Plymouth Township Zoning Hearing Board is now in session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Sander for some conduct proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First order of business is to read a statement from the Colonial School District, which reads as follows. Good evening. Before we begin our meeting, I would like to read a statement from Colonial School District. I just said that. Colonial School District is pleased to host this meeting for Plymouth Township so that there is enough space for residents to attend. District officials would like to make it clear that the use of its property for a meeting should not be construed as support for the proposed data center being discussed tonight. Colonial remains neutral on this topic and places its trust in residents and the township officials to agree upon what's best for the township. And on behalf of Colonial School District, thank you. Next order of business this evening will be to continue accepting folks who want to seek party status. We went through this the first time, at the first hearing, if you were here. We had about 17 or 18 parties that were allowed to have party status. And we will start out tonight by doing the same thing. I would like to announce that we will be aiming to stop the hearing this evening at around 9:30. That's not a hard and fast at 9:30 we will cease, but we will gauge where we are in the proceedings and we will decide where a good stopping point will be. It may be a little bit before 9:30, it may be a little bit after 9:30, but that is our general goal. At this time, I would ask if anybody wishes to have party status. I'll tell you what that means. You can come on down. You do not need to become a party. You do not need to have party status in order to speak to the zoning hearing board about this case. After all testimony is taken, the zoning hearing board will open the floor to public comment, which will allow anyone to speak to the zoning hearing board about this case and make their comments. Party status is a special designation that allows you to call your own witnesses, cross-examine the applicant's witnesses, and file an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas from a decision with which you disagree. The law requires that in order to qualify for party status, you must be aggrieved by the application. That means that you must have an immediate and substantial interest in this matter, which is above and beyond a general concern with the proposed use. Keeping in mind that you do not need to become a party to the hearing in order to be heard and to speak to the zoning hearing board on the matter, I would ask now who wishes to become a party in this matter. I will ask folks to come down to the microphone here if they wish to become a party. Mr. Saraceni, I recognize that you are there being an attorney. You do not need to be sworn in. However, non-attorneys will have to be sworn in before they testify as to their request for party status. So the board recognizes Mr. Saraceni.
Thank you, Mr. Sander. As you stated, I am Robert Saraceni. I represent the municipality of Norristown. We're requesting party status. As the board knows, we're the immediately adjacent municipality, and things like pollution and water do not respect borders of townships. So the municipality is concerned about the impact it may have on its town and citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Saraceni. I'm going to ask for a moment to have a word with the board on this. Thank you, Mr. Saraceni. Upon discussion with the zoning hearing board will deny Norristown municipality's request. Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters.
Good evening. My name is Mike Peters. I am the Borough Solicitor for the Borough of Conshohocken. Last night at their meeting, Borough Council authorized me to appear here tonight, and that is why I'm here. Immediately following that vote, the Borough Manager, Stephanie Checo, sent a request and also our position to the Township Manager, which I then forwarded this morning to both to all of the Zoning Hearing Board Solicitor, the Township Solicitor, and also to Applicants Council. That memo I did provide to Dave. I do have a few documents I can pass up if it may be helpful, just to distinguish our particular party status.
Certainly, Mr. Peters, that would be fine. Please don't call out. Thank you. Mr. Peters? Mr. Peters?
The materials that I handed out, I provided briefly before this meeting to, again, the same individuals, the Zoning Hearing Board Solicitor, Township Solicitor, and also Applicants Council. Our memorandum sets forth the bases from an administrative service perspective for why we believe we have standing, the additional materials I handed out, and if we could please, I'll mark the Memorandum Borough 1. The next document is an aerial prepared by our Township Engineer. The aerial shows the subject property and then the distance to the borough boundary. The closest spot is around 941 feet to the borough boundary. You'll see I also identify 680 Colwell Lane, which is located in Plymouth Township, and I'll explain in a moment why I'm identifying that property. And finally, we have the back-end measurement of around 3,600 feet to the borough's border. What I was not able to include on here, only because I did not have a chance to ask the borough engineer to add it, the property immediately next to this property across the Highway 476, along the train track, that is property of Madison West Elm. However, the Borough of Conshohocken has an open space easement over that parcel. That open space easement was included in what I just handed you. It is dated February 10th, 2022. This easement was given in connection with a height bonus for that apartment building and gives the borough and its residents the right to use and enjoyment of that property. And that particular property is approximately 400 feet from the subject site.
We will mark that as Exhibit Conshohocken 3.
Conshohocken 3.
Two will be the aerial photo.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Gotcha.
And then as Conshohocken 4, 680 Colwell, the reason I identified it, the Borough of Conshohocken last night, their Borough Council authorized purchase of that property for a public works and public services facility for the Borough of Conshohocken. That was via Resolution 2026-11, which we can mark Conshohocken 4. That purchase will proceed forward. The agreement of sale, to be transparent, is not yet signed. It's attached to the resolution, but will need to be finalized. With respect to the memorandum that I handed out, the additional services and items that we identified were the fact that should there be any issue at this property, the borough, through mutual aid or otherwise, will provide police, fire, and emergency services. The sewer for this property to be serviced by the Borough of Conshohocken Authority. The Borough of Conshohocken Authority is a municipal entity created by the Borough of Conshohocken. The Borough of Conshohocken Council has sole appointment power, and the sewer plant for the Borough of Conshohocken Authority is located within the borough's limits. The borough obviously is downriver from this particular site. This site, as you all know, is tucked into a corner of Plymouth Township. It's not unnatural or out of the norm for heavy industrial uses. They're often put in the corner of municipalities, but the result of that is that there can be effect on immediately adjacent municipalities. In our memorandum, we note the issues we experienced a few years ago with, at that point, Covanta, now Reworld. Effects from that site were felt in the borough. The borough was involved in terms of the ultimate solution and remediation with respect to that, and the borough's council received, was inundated with calls. The point is not to compare the two uses, but just to point out that this particular area, given its location, does have a unique effect on the borough of Conshohocken. We included in our memorandum several cases we thought would be interesting to all of you. The only case I could find regarding a neighboring municipality, the supportive bases for standing were fire services and traffic. Traffic in the borough, as everyone knows, is an issue. This particular site leads to the intersection of West Elm and Fayette, which is one of the worst, if not the worst, intersection in the borough. Final impacts of this are unknown at this point, but certainly the borough has an interest with respect to this application and the effect on traffic. Your solicitor certainly knows all the applicable cases. I'll just note that Commonwealth Court and the Supreme Court have expanded the concept of standing before zoning hearing boards versus appealing to a court. We believe here, with our ownership interest in or our easement interest in a property that's only 400 feet away, the fact that we're purchasing a property within Plymouth Township that's around 1,500 feet away, the police, fire, EMS issue, the sewer issue, and the other issues I have identified are sufficient to grant us party status in this matter, and that's what we would ask for.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Conshohocken Borough will be granted party status.
Mr. Sanders.
Oh, I apologize, Mr. Campbell. I should have deferred to you as to whether you had any comments.
I object. I understand.
Please place your objection on the record, absolutely.
So the salient and primary case that Mr. Peters relies on is the Miller case. And he's correct that the Miller case remanded an appeal because of an issue involving an adjacent municipality, and the Commonwealth on remand directed the zoning hearing board to reconsider the adjacent municipality's application. And the Commonwealth court cited two things that they should consider. One is that those adjacent municipalities actually shared the same fire service, and that's not the case here. The second criteria they asked to consider was traffic. And with deference to the Commonwealth Court, the concern about traffic is a generalized concern and not a particularized concern. I'd also note that in Mr. Peters' memo and in his oral comments, he goes into some detail about the fact that there is a portion of Plymouth Township which is served by the sewer authority. You granted the sewer authority party status already. So to the extent that in the memo or in those comments, issues about impact to sewer, they're already addressed and reflected and protected by the admission of the sewer authority. Respectfully, the balance of the issues that Mr. Peters raises are not particularized interests. When you look at the MPC and you look at 908, there's three criteria. The first is the municipality. They don't qualify for that. And the second two, I agree that there is language from our Commonwealth Court describing what those other criteria, those other categories need to establish. But in the end, it's always a particularized effect, not an impact that would be felt generally in the community. An impact that would be felt or impacted generally in the community is not a basis for standing. And respectfully, the borough's solicitors necessarily said we're here to protect all of the general interests of the community, which I respect, but that's not what the MPC promotes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Please, let us conduct the hearing, please. We're moving forward. I'm thanking counsel for his comments. We will overrule the objection and we will grant party status. Okay, but folks, I need you to let us do this procedure and this job without interfering with it, please. Ma'am, I know that it's a very emotional issue. I know that you want to see what you're advocating for come to fruition. We must allow this procedure to go without having interruptions. It's just going to take forever to get through. So please, I'm asking you kindly. There will be some decisions with which you agree. There will be some decisions with which you don't agree, but it's all part of the legal proceeding that has to go before the zoning hearing board. Give these folks a chance to hear the case and decide the case appropriately. Thank you. I'm thanking you in advance. Thank you. Sorry.
Good evening. My issue's a little easier.
I can't hear this man because you're yelling, ma'am. Thank you. Yes.
My name is Richard Sakura. I'm with the law firm of High Swartz in Norristown. My understanding, as Mr. Campbell just said, the Borough of Conshohocken Authority is already admitted as a party.
Correct.
I'm here simply to enter my appearance on behalf of the authority as counsel. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Sikora. The record will note that you and not Mr. Dorfschneider are the attorney for the authority. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any other party status matters to address? Yes, sir. You don't have to raise your hand or anything. You can come on down to the podium here. Again, I'm going to ask you some questions. We do need to swear you in before you testify, so Ms. Court Reporter, would you do that honors, please?
Name is Christopher Zepernick. Z-E-P-E-R-N-I-C-K. I do.
Mr. Zepernick, what's your address, please?
621 Old Elm Street.
Old Elm Street?
Correct.
Did you receive notice of this hearing in the mail when it originally was scheduled?
I believe so, but I'm here basically through conversation, so.
How far away is 621 Old Elm Street from the proposed site?
I can throw a rock and hit it. I'm right across the
Unless
street.
you might have a really good arm, though.
Yeah. I'm pretty much right across the street. Visual line, I don't know the exact distance, but visual line of sight, yes.
Okay, so you're an immediate neighbor of,
Yes.
you don't abut the property, but you're a neighbor of the neighborhood. Okay, Mr. Zepernick, you will be granted party status. Thank you. Mr. Senator? No, Mr. Peter. I apologize.
Just a question, which municipality is the protest live in?
Mr. Zepernick, come on back. I apologize, Mr. Campbell. I'll try to remember what you had opportunity there.
What's that?
Mr. Zepernick, in what municipality do you reside?
Plymouth Township.
You're a Plymouth Township resident?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Campbell?
Consistent with the board's earlier decision in similar residence transactions.
Thank you. You will be granted party status. Sir, your name, please?
My name is Gregory Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N.
W-A-R-R-E-N.
That's correct.
Okay, can you swear, Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Warren, what's your address, please?
My address is 958 River Place Drive.
River Place Drive.
Yes, sir.
Is that in Plymouth Township?
It's actually White Marsh Township.
It's in White Marsh Township.
And I have a statement if I can.
Yes, please. It would help the board if you could advise us why you believe you're entitled to party status.
Yes, sir. So the proximity necessary to confer standing is not a strict 500 feet requirement, as we understand has been applied thus far. Instead, Lorenzen versus West Cornwall Township has made it clear that in Pennsylvania, the proximity varies with the land use at issue. Furthermore, Pennsylvania has affirmed the Conference of Standing as an affected party in Grant v. Zoning Hearing Board of the Township of Penn. In that case, standing was found for property owners over a mile away from an electric generation site with combustion turbines due to air and sound which could impact properties more than 500 feet away. I will be impacted by this air and noise just as the grants were.
Your concern, do you have a specific concern that you at 958 River Place will be affected?
Yes, both my wife and daughter have severe allergies.
Severe allergies?
Yes, sir. And they will be negatively impacted. In addition, I frequently use the trail that runs alongside the now vacant steel mill. And I'm afraid that as I exercise on my bike and running, that is going to impact my health as well.
Do you know how far away you are from the property?
Approximately 1.3 miles. And again, Grant v. Zoning Hearing Board of the Township of Penn had indicated that seems to be within the 11 acres.
Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, no, my objective to the application, it's at least a mile, clearly in excess of a mile. It's one municipality removed from an adjacent municipality, and the
No outbursts from the audience. Are we in the hearing?
No, you're not, ma'am, not tonight. But I told you, if you listen to my comments earlier, ma'am, you will have the opportunity to speak to the zoning hearing board and make public comment, but only when all of the testimony is done.
Does that mean you're going to publish a written account of this?
You can acquire a written account of this from this young lady right up here, our court reporter.
So we can come into the town and say that this is correct.
When it's ready, when it's prepared, yes, you can. We don't know that. You have to ask our court reporter. She needs a little bit of reasonable time to do her work. It won't be 3 months from now, I promise you. Thank you.
The issues raised are of a generalized, not a specific nature, and I think adequately covered in the category of generalized community concerns, not a specific concern.
Health of my family.
Mr. Warren, could you give us a little more on the allergy front? What are the adverse effects?
I'm not certain I'm comfortable with entering into public record.
Well, we're going to need some particularized, excuse me, please. We're going to need some particularized testimony from you in order to consider granting party status.
That puts me in a difficult position.
I understand that, and I'm certainly not forcing you to answer at all. I'm merely asking the question. If you don't want to state that, fine, the board will make a decision.
So I would like to reiterate that really this is an electric generation facility. Grant v. Zoning Hearing Board of Penn Township is explicit that standing can be found for property owners over a mile away from electric generation sites with combustion turbines because the air and sound can travel far. There will be turbines here. In Grant, the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania determined that those property owners over a mile away had a direct, immediate, pecuniary, and substantial interest in this matter because the sound and wind flowed onto their land, and they were thus aggrieved, which is an even higher standard than is here today.
Mr. Campbell?
No additional comments. No, my opinion.
Mr. Warren, you will be granted party status.
Good evening. My name is Jamie, Jaime Martino, Martino. I live 752 feet from the property.
I'm sorry?
752.
What's your address?
One.
Let's get you sworn in first. Thank you, Paula. Your address, ma'am?
111 Light, Light Street, Conshohocken. I live in Plymouth Township. Plymouth.
And how far away from you did you say you were from this?
752.
752 feet.
Correct.
Okay. It's 111 Light Street.
Correct.
Okay. Did you receive a notice of this hearing originally?
I did not.
You did not. Okay. Mr. Campbell?
Sure. Can you share with us what the particularized concerns you have that are unique to you and not
General
general concern?
Yes. I can see the property from my house. I walk by it regularly. I have a chronic migraine condition. My son has asthma. There are other medical conditions within my house. I moved here specifically to be out of a generalized area that had a lot of pollution.
Thank you, Ms. Martino. You will be granted party status.
Thank you.
Mr. Campbell.
Just note the objection on the record.
Note the objection for the record. It is noted. Thank you. Thank you. Ma'am.
First name is Frances, Frances. Last name is Wood.
Last name?
Wood, Wood.
Could you swear in Ms. Wood, please?
I do.
Oh, that was quick. Ms. Wood, what's your address, please?
400 West Elm Street,
400 West Elm Street in what?
Conshohocken.
Is that in Conshohocken Borough or Plymouth Township?
I believe it's Conshohocken Borough. It's the Madison West Elm building, is where I live.
I know it's a mailing address, but that doesn't mean that there are plenty of Plymouth properties that have a Conshohocken mailing address. Do you know in which municipality you live?
I believe I live in Conshohocken. It's the Madison West Elm building that you noted earlier in the conversation.
400 West Elm. Do you know how far it is from the property?
I think you said 400 feet earlier.
I'm sorry, who said that earlier?
You noted earlier, the Madison West Elm building is the building that's directly adjacent to the property. On the other side of 76.
All right, well, give us one. Mr. Campbell, I'm not quite sure about the location.
My understanding of 400 West Elm is that it is in the borough of Conshohocken, not Plymouth Township. And I don't believe it's 400 feet away. I'm trying to pull up, but as we know, we don't have great Wi-Fi. In addition to not clear how far away she is from the property, there's been no testimony or offer of proof of particularized interest.
Yes, I'm going to give Ms. Wood an opportunity to advise the board about your particular situation where this would affect you in ways that are not just general effects on the public.
I walk my dog every day by the building that it is. I also have respiratory distress and asthma related to my health as well. I will be breathing the air immediately because it is right there.
So, but we don't know how far away this is. Is it apartment building? Is it an apartment?
Yes, it's the apartment building, the Madison West Elm apartment building that you talked about earlier in the conversation. That building that owns that shared little lot.
It's at least a blue.
Yeah, Mr. Peters, yes.
Mr. Peters referenced it as the easement granted to the borough. in
Right.
relation to-
Oh, Mr. Peters talked about it
I
before.
did. I did. So, Madison West Elm is the property, the apartment building that's associated with the open space that I was referring to earlier. The reason she would not have received notice, I think, and again, I'm not your attorney, but it is because the parcels that make up that apartment complex were not consolidated. So, the Plymouth Township parcel, it's certainly within 500 feet. The remaining parcels are not.
Mr. Campbell,
Yeah, note my objection.
objections noted. Ms. Wood, you will be given party status. Thank you. Sir,
Hello.
your name, please.
Roger Finch. I live at 645.
Hold on, slow down. Spell your first name, spell your last name.
Roger Finch, like the bird. Finch. Roger, Roger.
Thank you. Can you get sworn in, please?
I do.
Mr. Finch, what's your address?
645 Fulton Street, Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, Plymouth Township.
645 Fulton
Yes.
in Plymouth Township. Did you receive
Yes.
notice of this hearing
I think
originally?
the original one, yes.
The original one, yes. Are you within 500 feet of this property?
I live across the playground from the host site. I think that's 400 or so feet. A couple of my neighbors have standing.
Okay. Mr. Campbell?
Given the, within 500 feet,
That's correct.
I understand the board's position with individuals within 500 feet. So,
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Mr. Finch, you will be given party status. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Saracen.
Mr. Sander, I'm hoping the board, in light of some of the other members of the public that were granted party status, would reconsider my request. I mean, this is a facility that's going to have emissions that are going to travel. They're not going to stop at the border of Plymouth. They're going to enter Norristown. There's water usage, which we don't know the full extent of, but if they draw from the river, that's certainly going to have an impact upstream. There's going to be a massive amount of impervious coverage, which is again going to impact the river. And if the river rises downstream, it certainly impacts upstream, which is where Norristown is. And the border of Norristown is probably 1.1 miles from the site. I don't know what the distance is on the river because it's not straight, but I think those things should be considered as well.
Thank you, Mr. Saracen.
So, Mr. Sander, I mean, for the record, I renew my objection. Nothing that Mr. Saraceni has shared changes what he previously said. These are still generalized concerns, and as testimony will bear out, we're not drawing water from the river. We're not increasing impervious coverage. We're using closed-loop systems. So, to the extent that he's talking about water impact, I'm sorry.
It's our water.
I understand.
Yeah, folks, our court reporter who has to take down the official record on which this board will base its decision in this case can't hear the person who's speaking, whether it's applicant's counsel, whether it's a party, whether it's a witness coming up. She can't hear it when people yell out and call out. So I'm asking you, please let the proceedings go. Let the parties speak so that our court reporter can hear everything and get an accurate record. It's very, very important. So I thank you in advance. Mr. Campbell?
I restate my objection, and in particular, I point that nothing Mr. Saraceni has added significantly changes what he previously told you, which the board has acted on. And for the benefit of Mr. Saraceni and the board and the issues that he's raised, my client is not increasing impervious coverage on the site. He's not drawing water out of the river. and he's going to use closed-loop systems. So concerns about water and the impact to the river, testimony to come will demonstrate are of no moment. But the reality is, a municipality is not allowed, under the law, to be admitted in order to represent the generalized concern and the generalized concerns of the community. And respectfully, Mr. Saracini, who I like, he's a very good lawyer, I don't think...
Let's let the proceedings go. Mr. Saracini, we've heard your second argument. The board is going to stick with its original decision.
Thank you, Mr. Sander.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to have party status? Okay, seeing none, we will proceed. I see council has risen.
If I may, Charles Campbell, I represent the objectors, Daniel and Lynn Campbell. I do have two preliminary matters I want to put on the record before we start, for fear that if I don't lodge the objections now, they may be waived. I'll be brief. The first objection is to the applicant standing to bring this application. To my knowledge, the only facts in the record are a 3-page fragment of a document that purports to be an agreement of sale that does not describe any consideration for the supposed sale, does not describe the property, and on its face is insufficient to show that this applicant has any equitable interest in the land in question. Secondly, and I have a memorandum that addresses the second point I want to make, and I can offer that to the copies to the board if I may. The applicant's counsel has a copy already. Now, my clients have owned 2 pieces of real estate within 500 feet of the property in question. They are entitled to know, as a matter of due process and as a matter of the requirements of the Plymouth Township ordinance, to notice that what exactly is proposed to be done on the property by the applicant. And I think it's clear as day that this application is insufficient. It does not describe what the applicant intends to put on the property. It talks generally about a data center. It does not provide a scale plot plan as required by the Plymouth Township ordinance. The application itself, on paragraph 11, described what is proposed of the real estate in question. The applicant left it blank. The special exception variance / variance requested is as follows, and that question is answered by see attached addendum. And the addendum itself consists of a 2.5-page document that consists mostly of the applicant's legal argument as to how this relief they seek fits within the special exception portion of the ordinance, which may be helpful at a later stage, but doesn't, again, describe what the applicant wants to do with the land. That's followed by several pages of what appear to be marketing materials for the proposed project that, again, has no drawings to scale, does not indicate what's going to be built and where, and it's followed then by a series of what appear to be county duplications of county maps showing the drawings of the surveys of the land as 900 Conshohocken Road. So, in summary, and I think the memorandum I provided to the board, I would encourage the board to read it. I think there may be some other points there that I may not hit on this recitation, but really, to not have a drawing as to what the applicant is even going to put on the property, I think is outrageous. I think it's unfair to the board to even have to speculate on what they're being asked to approve and not approve. I can certainly say it leaves my clients in a severe disadvantage in raising opposition to what is going to be built there when they don't even know what's going to be built there. So how can they possibly oppose it? They have constitutionally protected property rights that are going to be affected if this relief is granted. And based on those factors, we are requesting that no hearing proceed on this case until a conforming application is filed, the case is re-advertised, and it's done correctly. I've handled a few zoning cases in surrounding areas, maybe one or two in Plymouth, I'm not sure, but I think if you want a variance for a fence in Plymouth, you have to have a drawing. Show where you're going to put your fence. There's no... necessarily dismiss the entire case and make the applicant refile, but at the very least require him to amend his application to conform to the rules, and without any without letting the applicant benefit. I know that there are some time limitations from the time of the filing of the application to the time the board has to make a decision, and if the requirement that he file an amended application is going to protract that period of time, that an extension be granted to the board to make his decision so the applicant doesn't benefit from his own deficient filing. Thank you.
Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. And so in response, the first basis for the motion is lack of standing because my client doesn't demonstrate ownership interest. We have submitted a redacted copy of the agreement of sale, and which clearly identifies that the applicant has the property subject to an agreement of sale and is therefore the equitable owner. There's no requirement for the terms and conditions and the additional components that are regularly part of an agreement of sale and part of back and forth negotiation be included to demonstrate equitable ownership. With regard to the adequacy of the application, respectfully to Mr. Campbell, the application is adequate, the application is sufficient, and it's unique to this particular type of special exception, which one, requires us to demonstrate that the use we propose is substantially similar to other uses that are there. So that's the first point. And the second point is that the site-specific relief that we intend to ask for. And we don't expect that this case is going to end today. There's going to be multiple witnesses, and you will have a very clear picture of what we're asking you to do through all of the testimony that's to come.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Excuse me, that's unacceptable. Please mind your mouth. You know what? Have some respect for these people. That's what I'm trying to do by allowing these proceedings to move along. This board is trying desperately to hear this case and proceed as it needs to under the law. These cursing and screaming out curses, not going to help us get an accurate record. So please, again, I'm begging you guys, just let it happen. Just let it go. Everybody in this room will have a chance to speak, okay? Mr. Campbell, Mr. Charles Campbell, your motions will be taken under advisement by the zoning hearing board and considered as part of its ultimate decision in this case. However, we will proceed this evening with testimony. Mr. Campbell, I believe, sir?
Am I free to cross-examine the representations just made by...
No, you're not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Campbell, that was a legal argument. Mr. Campbell, you can call your first witness, please.
Thank you. Our first witness is Richard Roseberry. So, Mr. Sander, previously I handed to you a packet of documents which I anticipate using with this witness, and I've provided, I think, most counsel with a copy of it, and I believe numerous of the pro se opponents. I have a handful of other copies, not knowing how many protestants we have.
Understood, Mr. Campbell, and we did have, this evening, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional parties.
I have 4, maybe 5. Anybody, who else was admitted? If they want to step forward,
Who became a party tonight who wishes to receive a copy of the...
Sure.
Mr. Zepernik, Mr. Warren, Mr. Fitch, yes. If you were already given party status at the last hearing, you should.
I don't know that I have enough for everybody.
All right. We didn't know how many people there were going to be, and he has been given a copy. Okay. Okay. Has Mr. Roseberry been sworn? Can we swear the witness, please?
It appears that Mr. Learman wants to be heard.
Mr. Learman, do you have a motion or a preliminary matter before we start testimony? You do? It's the first time anybody's called me that. Thank you. Mr. Learman.
Good afternoon. My name is Nick Learman. Yes, ma'am. I understand that we are about to get our first witness, Mr. Richard Roseberry, who's about to be sworn in. Moments before we started this hearing, I was provided, as best guess, roughly 50 or 60 pages of exhibits that Mr. Campbell indicated, that he indicated he was going to be introducing through this witness. I raised the issue of notice at the prior hearing, and specifically the Zoning Hearing Board's capacity under the Municipal Planning Code 9084 to order parties to produce evidence and witnesses and names and information, specifically so that the parties here could properly prepare. As I know this Zoning Hearing Board knows, but perhaps many of the people in the audience don't know, there's a lot of research that goes anytime a party introduces an expert witness, to include where they work, what they do, how they get paid, who their other clients are. And in this particular instance, it appears Mr. Roseberry intends to rely on references to at least a dozen separate data centers across the country, none of which are in close proximity here. We have no opportunity to research or properly and effectively cross-examination, which I think is a violation of our due process rights, and at the very least is unfair to the parties that are here, most particularly the lay witnesses that have no legal training. And so what I'm going to ask, I'll ask it in the alternative. One is I'm going to ask you to delay the hearing entirely, and if the board wishes to not delay the hearing, to allow him to testify, allow cross-examination to begin, but also afford us an opportunity to bring the witness back the next successive hearing so that we can properly research, ask additional questions, keep the process moving, but make sure that we get a fair shake at cross-examining their witnesses. But while we're here, while we're here, we have one witness. I have no information, no idea if there are going to be additional, whether Mr. Roseberry represents the first or represents the only witness that the applicant intends to produce. So once again, I'm going to renew our request under 9084 for the Zoning Hearing Board to compel, which they have the authority to do, Mr. O'Neill to provide any expert witnesses, their reports, their CVs, and and all related matters to each and every one of the parties before they testify.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Thank you, Mr. Newman.
And then one completely non-substantive point. If I could just ask Mr. Campbell to make sure you're speaking directly into the microphone. The sound, at least on that side of the room, is very tough for Mr. Campbell's microphone.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Campbell.
Sure, so this is ground we've covered once before. My recollection is correct. I think Mr. Learman has raised this issue similarly before the board. I have great respect for Mr. Learman. He's an attorney. He's a very good lawyer. he also knows that the regular rules of procedure that he might, or we all might expect in a civil proceeding don't apply in these proceedings. That being said, after our last hearing, Mr. Learman and I communicated where I offered to provide all of my documents 10 days in advance of the hearing if all other parties agreed the same. I did not hear a response from Mr. Learman, number one. Number two, in an effort to address those concerns, we delivered at least 2 other expert reports, our traffic expert and our sound expert, our noise expert, to the township and asked to be circulated to all witnesses in the event that we don't get through Mr. Roseberry, so that they would have the benefit of those witnesses. So we are working in good faith to make this meeting efficient and effective. We've made offers to address Mr. Learman's concerns, and I have not heard back from him or from anyone else.
And I just want to respond if I could. Sure. It is true. Mr. Campbell and I exchanged a phone call about this, where he asked me to round up and secure confirmations from each and every single party. With all due respect to counsel, that's not my job.
With all due respect, I did not ask you to do that. That is not what I asked you to do. I did not.
All right. I'm going to stop you guys. Thank you. I understand it's a spirited and an important issue. At the last hearing, I, like Mr. Campbell said, advised Mr. Learman that zoning hearings are different than civil trials, and that zoning hearings proceed differently with regard to when evidence is presented and the opportunity to cross-examine. That said, I asked Mr. Learman to contact Mr. Campbell and ask him if he could accommodate Mr. Learman and others by providing the evidence in advance. The only thing the zoning hearing board can do is ask Mr. Campbell if he will accommodate your request and do that. He doesn't have to, but he certainly has shown at least a willingness to try to do that. So I really want you guys to work this out. The zoning hearing board is not going to stop the hearing or not move forward because of this statement, Mr. Learman. However, I do want the parties to cooperate as much as possible. Get lists, witness lists. I'm fairly certain, Mr. Campbell, that you know generally who your witnesses will be, if not everyone, at least some of them. Supply that to the parties, and if you have a report in advance, please supply that to the parties.
Mr. Secretary, I might suggest that at the conclusion of tonight's meeting, if there were a brief meeting, ask you to chair among those who have party status, we can talk about procedural things moving forward. I don't know that needs to be a public discussion. I think that needs to be a more.
That would not. I'm not sure that's a good idea. I think the zoning hearing board is saying, look, we need to hear this case. You guys have to work out how you're going to accommodate each other, and that's the way we're going to proceed.
And just one additional comment, just to make the record clear, Mr. Campbell and I had that conversation. As far as I understand, Mr. Campbell did not contact any of the other parties to try to secure those assurances. So it's not my responsibility to communicate with other parties. It's his responsibility to communicate with the opposing parties going forward.
And again, thank you. And I'll let you guys work on it. Thank you. I will let you guys work that out. Sir, can you identify yourself, please?
My name is David Berger. I have standing consent.
Yes, Mr. Berger.
David Berger, B-E-R-G-E-R.
Thank you, Mr. Berger.
Thank you. I would like to join his objection to the late presentation of this information. As I'm representing myself pro se, I do not have the time to address this seriously in that amount of time. Additionally, I am not represented by Nick, and I would like to be addressed as a separate party in this, and I do find it inappropriate that you tried to negotiate for what everyone was doing. With
Mr. Berger, you cannot talk directly to Mr. Campbell. Please address the zoning hearing board. Thank you. No problem.
Then I would like to say that some of the communication throughout this whole process has addressed Nick as if he were representing the parties. He does not that I'm hostile to him in any way, I very much respect him, but I would like to be addressed as an equal party in this matter.
Absolutely agree. Thank you, Mr. Berger. Mr. Plymouth.
Thank you, Mr. Sander. I would like to note that under 9084 of the MPC, the zoning hearing board does have the authority to issue subpoenas. And what we are asking for is that in the event that we get through direct testimony this evening on a particular witness, that the zoning hearing board does subpoena that witness to come back and make sure that they attend at the next hearing so they can be cross-examined, or that the completion of cross-examination can happen. I don't think that's an unreasonable request of the zoning hearing board. If you want me to make that in form of motion, I can make it in form of motion, but that is my request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. Yeah, before I respond, Mr. Campbell.
With all due respect to Mr. Clement's interpretation of the MPC, that's not what the subpoena power is used for. If we call a witness tonight and we do not finish that witness will return at the next meeting for the conclusion of direct and or cross. We make that offer, that's our obligation, we understand that we have to do that. There's no need to subpoena someone for that purpose. And that's not what the subpoena power that this board has is designed to accomplish.
If Mr. Campbell is making the offer to ensure that the witness comes back to finish cross-examination, I'll withdraw my request.
The witness will be required to return until cross-examination is complete. Thank you. Mr. Campbell, you were calling Mr. Roseberry.
Mr. Sander, I'm down here.
Oh,
sorry.
Mr. Heleniak.
Yes, the township has a preliminary objection. Mr. Campbell offered up a packet of documents, which he's already referenced, and the township would object to the inclusion of 3 documents in that packet, namely letters from Limerick Township, the City of Lancaster, and Upper Merion Township that represent zoning opinions from their respective zoning officers. The standard for evidence at the zoning hearing board is reasonable and relevant. These 3 documents are not reasonable in this proceeding, nor are they relevant to this proceeding, as they are opinions of a zoning officer interpreting a zoning ordinance that is not Plymouth Township's. The rule and interpretation of another municipality cannot be applied to Plymouth, and the case for a special exception or to prove abuses of the same general character must be within the confines of the Plymouth Township zoning ordinance, not what may be done in other municipalities. So I would object to their use or inclusion in the record.
Mr. Heleniak, they have not been offered into evidence yet, so we will defer that objection until they are offered into evidence.
Thank you. I ask for my objection to be
Yes,
standing on those items.
Noted for the record. Thank you. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. Mr. Roseberry.
Mr. Roseberry has to be sworn.
Please be sworn.
Richard Roseberry, Roseberry. I do.
Mr. Roseberry, stated your name for the record. What do you do for a living?
I'm a senior.
Yeah, we really need to speak up, everybody, because sound is not great in here. I think we can hear it echoes, and we really need to be cognizant of that. So let's speak directly into our microphones and let's speak loud and clear.
Mr. Roseberry, what do you do for a living?
I'm a senior principal with Colliers Engineering and Design.
And where do you work out of for Colliers?
Work address is 1110 American Parkway, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
How long have you been employed with Colliers Engineering?
Next month will be 20 years.
Can you describe your professional responsibilities with Colliers?
Yeah, I'm currently, my title with Colliers, I'm regional manager. I oversee all of the civil site departments for our Pennsylvania offices, of which we have 6. I also oversee civil site departments in the Midwest, which includes Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Tennessee, and Indiana. I'm also a market lead for our data center. Market lead for our data center group.
So what does it mean to be the market lead for a data center group at Colliers?
So in civil engineering, we break ourselves into different markets. Some individuals have expertise in education, others have expertise in residential. They're different markets. I happen to have expertise in industrial and data centers.
Do you play a role in project management?
Yes.
What about site evaluation and zoning analysis?
Yes.
What's your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science from Syracuse University.
When did you graduate?
1988.
Do you have a license or certification in engineering?
Yes, I'm licensed in 6 states, including Pennsylvania.
How long have you been a licensed professional engineer?
30 years in Pennsylvania.
Do you hold any other licenses or certificates of a professional nature?
Yes, I'm in New Jersey. I'm a professional planner in New Jersey. They're the only state that licenses planners. I also have an AIC certification. That's the national recognition for planners through the American Institute of Certified Planners.
So in your capacity as a planner, what experience do you have doing land use compatibility analysis or studies?
Quite extensive. As a planner, I've represented both municipalities and private developers, drafting ordinances, working on comprehensive plans, doing land use studies, pretty much anything that a planner does.
As a planner / engineer, what experience do you have working with clients for regulatory compliance and in particular for industrial uses and data centers?
Everything from due diligence through entitlements and land development. That's one of the benefits of being both a planner and an engineer, that I can see the project from fruition all the way through completion.
Have you supervised or worked with municipalities creating ordinances relating to draft to data centers?
Yes, we have.
Tell me a little bit more about what it means to be a professional planner in order to become a professional planner in New Jersey.
So, professional planner in New Jersey, and actually through the same as with the American Institute of Certified Planners, it's a combination of experience and passing an exam.
How many years?
Passing an exam.
How many years of experience do you need before you can sit for that exam? If you recall.
I don't recall, but it's at least 4 years.
And did you sit for the exam in New Jersey?
Yes.
And did you sit for the exam under the American Institute of Certified Planners?
Yes.
And you hold that certificate as a planner under the AICP organization?
Yes.
And you hold a valid license in New Jersey as a planner?
Yes.
How long have you been an engineer?
30 years.
And how long have you had your planning certification with AICP?
18.
Do you hold any other certifications or credentials relating to planning in Pennsylvania?
It's a certification through the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Education Institute, referred to as PMPEI. It's a program which you might be familiar with in Montgomery County. We provide instruction to planning commissions, zoning hearing boards, municipal officials on an annual basis. I teach the course in subdivision and land development, and I've been doing that for 10 years.
Based on your licensure and your certifications and your experience, do you consider yourself qualified to offer expert opinions in land use matters and planning in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Can you describe your professional experience that would be relevant to this data center application?
So the application as we're here for tonight is to determine whether the use of a data center is in general characteristic of uses that are permitted in your ordinance. And those uses that are permitted in your ordinance, I have worked on, I have designed, as with data centers. So my testimony is going to be directly related to that specific criteria.
In your work in the past, working with other industrial uses and data centers, do you have experience evaluating zoning protocols and zoning ordinances?
Yes.
How about the availability and coordination of utilities?
Yes.
And in general, regulatory compliance for those industrial uses, including data centers?
Yes.
Approximately how many data center projects have you worked on?
Approximately 12.
Oh!
And what jurisdictions were those data centers located in?
These are nationwide. Our firm is doing a lot of work in Arizona and Texas right now, but we also have projects in Ohio. We're working on data centers nationwide. I mentioned Texas, Arizona, Mississippi, Ohio. We currently have 4 in Pennsylvania.
Can you describe the scope of your involvement with those data centers in Pennsylvania and elsewhere?
It varies. The ones in Pennsylvania are very early in design, so we're going through due diligence. We're actually drafting some ordinances for those projects, doing utility will serves, and determining if they're feasible.
Are you associated with or do you work on any other data centers here in Montgomery County?
No.
Have you worked on industrial redevelopment projects similar to what's proposed for here at 900 Conshohocken Road?
Yes.
Can you give me an example of some of the industrial redevelopment projects you and your firm have been involved in?
Yeah, specifically the Bethlehem Steel project in the city of Bethlehem. We have designed a lot of the industrial projects and redevelopment projects on that site.
Can you describe other types of specific industrial uses you've had experience with when evaluating land use compatibility?
A lot of warehouses, manufacturing plants, I believe 1 or 2 research and development facilities.
Have you provided expert testimony before zoning hearing boards or other municipal bodies before?
Yes, many.
How about in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Have you presented testimony in any local municipalities in close proximity to Plymouth?
I've testified in Conshohocken. I've been in White Marsh Township, not Plymouth, though.
Have you been accepted as an expert in those before those municipal bodies?
Yes.
All right. How many times have you testified as an expert either in front of a zoning board or in front of a municipal body?
Hundreds.
All right. Based on your education training, your certificates, your certifications, your professional experience, do you consider yourself qualified to offer an expert opinion on use compatibility and the characteristics of data center uses in industrial zoning districts?
Yes.
So I've circulated previously a series of documents. The first of those documents, I believe, take a look at that. One page. So I don't believe we have exhibits from the last hearing. I believe we're at exhibit 1.
You're correct, Mr. Campbell. This will be A1 if you choose.
Yes. So I'd ask you to look at your CV. Is that the first document in your packet? So, Mr. Sander, I will mark as A1 the CV of Richard Roseberry. Is this your curriculum vitae?
It is.
Does it accurately summarize the experience, some of which we've discussed here today?
Yes.
Okay. A2 is a document, the next document that I'll refer to as A2 is a document entitled Planner's Report, 900 Conshohocken Road Data Center Campus, Special Exception Application Review. Did you prepare that report?
Yes.
Okay. So at this time, I would move for Mr. Roseberry's qualification and acceptance as an expert in the area of planning and site civil engineering.
Again, will hit me with the areas of expertise again?
Planning.
Planning.
And civil engineering.
And civil engineering. Okay. Any objection to, this is for the parties, any objections to Mr. Roseberry being accepted by the board as an expert in planning and civil engineering based on his qualifications?
Mr. Sander, I'd certainly like to ask a few questions in voir dire based on this.
Certainly, Mr. Heleniak.
I have an objection now.
And we'll get to that. I'm going to let Mr. Heleniak cross-examine him on his qualifications, and then I will allow you to do that, Mr. Berger. Thank you.
Mr. Roseberry, good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Greg Heleniak. I'm the township solicitor in this matter. You mentioned that you have testified previously in the borough of Conshohocken and White Marsh Township. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in those matters that you testified, were you qualified as an expert, or were you just testifying?
I was just testifying.
You were just testifying, so you were not qualified as an expert in those matters.
No, I don't believe so.
And in what role
Oh,
were you?
wait, I believe White Marsh I was for,
Okay, and in what field were you qualified as an expert in the White Marsh matter?
engineering.
Engineering. And in the Conchi matter, did you testify as an engineer or a planner?
Engineer.
Okay. You mentioned that you work with municipalities as a planner. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are those municipalities located in Pennsylvania?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Do you work with any municipalities in Pennsylvania?
I don't directly, my firm does so.
You did state correct that you have never testified or been qualified as an expert in Plymouth Township?
That's correct.
In addition to Conshohocken and White Marsh, have you been qualified as an expert or testified in any other municipalities in Montgomery County?
Yes. I believe Lower Marion Township. Let's just stick with that right now.
Okay. And were you qualified as an expert in Lower Marion Township?
Yes.
And in what field?
Engineering.
Were you qualified in any municipality, testified or qualified as an expert in any municipalities in Bucks County?
No, Bucks County is not my territory.
Delaware County?
No.
Chester?
As an engineering expert, yes.
Engineering in Chester County?
Yes.
But not as a planner?
Correct.
You mentioned that you were working on 4 data centers in Pennsylvania?
That's correct.
Where are those data centers located?
Lackawanna, Luzerne, Westmoreland, and Schuylkill counties.
So, correct me, Lackawanna and Luzerne are in northeastern Pennsylvania?
Correct.
Westmoreland is
out by Pittsburgh.
East of Pittsburgh?
Yes.
And Schuylkill County is west of Berks County?
Well, just west of, yeah,
Pottsville.
and west of Luzerne.
So none of them are in...
I think you're healthy.
Understood.
Oh, you're cute.
None of those data centers are located in the general Philadelphia area then?
That's correct.
And so, is it fair to say you have not worked on any data centers or municipal planning projects in the general Philadelphia area?
That's correct.
Mr. Sander, I assume you'll ask for objections after other parties have also asked questions on Vladier?
Certainly, Mr. Berger, you said you wish to ask the...
I have a question, objection.
You have to come up to the... You have to come up and use a microphone. Oh, there's a microphone at your table, Mr. Berger. I apologize.
Yeah, this one's on.
Yep, that will work. Mr. Berger, you can stay at your table because I didn't know you had a microphone. And as it happens, you do.
Covering my objection, one of the data centers that's put forward, oh, my question first, my apologies. Are you aware of the, it's on? Yeah. Are you aware of the water quality notices currently active in Goodyear, Arizona? I noticed that you have it as one of your key projects. Can you speak to the impacts on the community of this project?
No, my involvement with that project was in the planning and zoning end of it.
Yes, but you're holding yourself forward as an expert. Does the presence of potentially related water notices at this time undercut your claims of expertise?
No, that has no relevance to my testimony here.
Mr. Berger, have you completed your form?
That's my only question I'm handing on.
Thank you. Mr. Learman.
All right, Mr. Roseberry, my name is Nick Learman. I'm a resident here in Plymouth Township in Conshohocken. A couple questions for you, if you could. One, all of your key projects that you listed, none of them are completed data centers, is that correct?
The Compass Data Center has a couple buildings completed. It's not fully completed.
Okay, so a couple buildings completed, and even at full completion, it will only be 210 megawatts, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's less than a third of the project that's proposed here.
Yes.
Okay, and if I understood what you said to Mr. Berger, you are of the opinion your testimony is not about the impact of these projects, is that correct?
Well,
My testimony here tonight is as to the special exception and whether the proposed data center use meets the general criteria and the same general character of the permitted uses in the zoning district.
Okay, well, I'm asking you to clarify what you already testified to, and what you testified to is that your testimony is not going to include expert opinions about the impact of these projects.
I'm going to object. That's not what the witness said. The witness said that
We have to hear these objections, folks, please, please.
Please, coach your witness. Go ahead, Mr. Kimball.
Mr. Campbell.
He spoke to the apparent fact that there are water quality notices related to a data center in Goodyear, Arizona, and that doesn't affect this client's testimony, but this witness's testimony in relation to the opinions he's going to offer.
Understood, Mr. Campbell. It's on his CV, and he's being offered as an expert, so we're going to allow some leeway on asking him questions on his CV. But I understand that his testimony in this matter will be different from his testimony in Arizona or anywhere else for that matter. But Mr. Learman, you can continue.
Okay, and to that point, have you ever testified in any area as an expert in the impacts of data centers?
Yes.
Where?
As we go through the testimony, I'm going to provide testimony to satisfy the second criteria of the special exception.
My question is where you've done that before. Geographically, where have you testified as an expert about the environmental and other impacts of data centers?
No, I'm going to have to pass on.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer.
He said he has to pass.
Okay, that's his answer. Okay. I said I didn't hear the answer. And Mr. Learman said?
He said, I have to pass.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
So as we stand here today, you can't tell us a single municipality or forum where you've testified as an expert regarding the impact of data centers here in the United States of America.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Learman. Folks, Mr. Learman's not done. Mr. Learman's not done.
In terms of your expertise, have you ever published a manual, publication, book, textbook, or anything else? I don't see anything listed on your CV regarding data centers, engineering, or even planning.
No.
When were you retained to testify today?
I'd say about 4 weeks ago.
And how much were you paid?
I don't believe that's relevant.
No, we're not going to go there, Mr. Learman.
With all due respect, Mr. Sander, it certainly goes to his credibility and the basis for his opinions.
He's hired by the applicant. Mr. Learman, I'm not going to allow the question. Ask your next question.
You can let me make a record if you could, Mr. Sander.
You already did.
And
you made your record. Move
okay,
on.
so for the record, my objection is based, any bias is an important aspect of analyzing, for the zoning hearing board, to analyze any expert that gets up here and testifies.
Just
how much they get paid to testify and offer the opinions that they're offering is certainly relevant. It's relevant in any hearing, anywhere.
Move on. Mr. Campbell.
Accept your ruling.
So if you
were
experts, we understand that experts are paid for their expertise. All the lawyers here tonight are being paid by their clients to be here. We understand that that's part of it. He's not doing this out of the kindness of his heart. We understand.
Well, and this is where we're making assumptions, because there will, in all likelihood, be experts that testify who are not getting paid. And this zoning hearing board should be allowed to make a credibility determination as to whether a hire going for X amount of money versus someone who's doing this out of the kindness of their heart because they believe in what they're saying.
Sorry? It's not a relevant question for the acceptance of this witness as an expert. If Mr. Learman is arguing and wants to argue that because he is an expert and experts get compensated for the work they do, and he somehow thinks that that will give the board a reason to discredit it, that's a different argument at a different time. It doesn't go to his qualifications or his expertise.
That's correct, Mr. Campbell. I agree. Mr. Lehrman, do you have any other questions for Mr. Roseberry?
I do. You mentioned that you were retained approximately 4 weeks ago. I'm looking at a report that's been identified as Alpha 2, A2. When did you generate that report?
The initial draft was generated about 2 weeks ago. We finalized it yesterday.
Okay, were there significant changes made between the draft 2 weeks ago and what happened yesterday or today?
Okay, Mr. Lehrman, your questions are going beyond the scope of his expertise to testify as a planner or
Understood.
engineer.
Understood. All right, that's all the questions I've got, though. I think, actually, give me 1 second, please. Oh, you know what, I do have, first, are you a professional engineer that is licensed, are you licensed as a professional civil engineer?
Yes,
Okay, what's your license number?
46162.
You gotta speak up, sir.
46162.
Okay, and are you qualified to stamp and seal?
Yes,
Do you have any formal education in planning?
yes.
Where was that?
Well, it's through the American Planning Association, through their AICP program.
And when did that take place?
But that's ongoing. I mean, AIC program requires 32 continuing education hours a year, so I'm taking credits and courses monthly.
I'm gonna have to ask the witness to repeat that. I could not understand what was said.
I said the AICP program requires 32 continuing credit hours a year, so I'm taking courses monthly to maintain that accreditation.
How about formal education in like a university or college or institution?
No, it's not required.
But you don't have any of that?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. That's all the questions I've got, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Lehrman. Are there any other questions for Mr. Roseberry, just limited to his qualifications to testify as an expert in planning and civil engineering? Okay, seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, you have your microphone there. Could you identify yourself for the record, please?
Jamie Stilson, Jamie Stilson.
Ms. Stilton, yes, please.
Just a question for Mr. Roseberry. You say you have your expert in preservation of land development. How much of that expertise includes environmental studies?
I defer environmental studies to the environmental experts.
How your land developing affects the environment, the water, the animals, the trees?
Yeah, that's a different category. That's not land planning.
So you don't have any knowledge of that?
I use the experts' reports, as we will hear, in my determinations and my reporting, but that's an expertise that's outside of land planning.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Stilton. Mr. Clement.
Mr. Sanders, just as a point of clarification, I'm not sure what we're trying to qualify this gentleman as.
As an expert in planning and civil engineering. He's been offered as such. We're having voir dire.
As both, civil planning and
Planning and civil engineering, correct.
And sir, if you could, you had mentioned that you would testify in a number of administrative proceedings, zoning hearing board proceedings.
Yes.
In how many of those proceedings were you testifying on behalf of a data center developer?
None.
None. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. Sir, I know we met tonight, but just identify yourself for the record before you speak so our court reporter can.
Of course, yes. Greg Warren, W-A-R-N.
Mr. Warren.
Yes, I was given standing over today. What we're looking at here in Conshohocken is a hyperscaler, which is a newer.
I'm sorry, Mr. Warren, you have to ask him questions, not make a statement.
Fair enough. How many hyperscalers that have potential of generating 100,000 or 1,000 megawatts of natural gas-fired electricity over 2 million square feet have you planned of that scale?
Specifically, I can't answer that question because I don't know what every single project has as far as megawatts and the like. I can tell you we're working on multiple projects with hyperscalers.
Well, you can't hear him if you're talking, so let's let him speak and let's listen. Mr. Roseberry, I'm going to ask you again, please speak right into the mic and please keep your voice up. Thank you.
I can't specifically answer that question because I don't know every project, the megawatt output, and the size of it. We are working with multiple hyperscalers right now on different projects.
Thank you, Mr. Roseberry. Sir, identify yourself, please.
Bruce Rakowski, R-A-K-O-W-S-K-I.
And you are a party, Mr. Rakowski?
I am.
Absolutely. Questions for Mr. Roseberry on his qualifications?
Mr. Roseberry, have you done any planning in Plymouth Township?
No.
In Montgomery County?
I've testified as a planner in Montgomery County.
You have?
Yes.
How about an engineer?
Yes.
And how about other places locally in Pennsylvania?
Well, my office is in the Lehigh Valley, so I do a lot of work in Northampton and Lehigh counties. I also work out in the Pittsburgh region, so I've testified in Westmoreland County, I've testified in Butler County, Indiana County, Allegheny County. So I've testified in numerous municipalities throughout the state.
So they're all in Pennsylvania. Are they more rural counties as opposed to suburban or city?
It's both.
It's both. Affecting suburbia, like suburban areas?
Everything, urban, rural, urban, suburban, all of the above.
Do you testify for general usage or particular usage?
Well, I design a lot of projects. I design schools, I design...
But here we're concerned about data centers.
Wait, Mr. Rakowski, if you ask him a question, you have to let him complete his answer, and then it's your turn again.
Right, so the field of planning is in line with the municipal planning code. Engineering is a wide range of different engineering projects. I do single family, I do institutional, I do industrial. It's a wide range of engineering.
Are data centers in a new field, experimental use?
That doesn't go to his qualifications.
Are you certified in those areas?
I'm sorry, is he certified in what?
Notifying if it's a data center, is it experimental or a new field that you have been doing, planning in data centers?
Are you asking him whether he has experience with data centers?
Experience and qualifications.
Yes. As a planner and a civil engineer with regard to data centers.
But
Is that what you're asking him? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I was asking if he's a certified municipal engineer in Pennsylvania.
I believe he is. And he answered that.
Pennsylvania doesn't certify municipal engineers.
He's a professional engineer, a PE, in Pennsylvania. Is that correct, Mr. Roseberry?
That's correct.
Okay.
But not a certified municipal engineer.
Pennsylvania does not certify municipal engineers. I am a certified municipal engineer in New Jersey that does certify municipal engineers.
But you are a Pennsylvania professional planner.
Pennsylvania doesn't license planners. New Jersey licenses planners. I'm a professional planner in New Jersey. I hold a federal accreditation by the American Institute of Certified Planners, which is nationwide. It's the only accreditation that certifies planners.
Finally, are you an engineer certified in Pennsylvania?
I'm an engineer licensed in Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rakowski.
I have two further questions regarding
Mr. Berger.
To clarify, are you planning to present expert testimony prepared by other experts?
I will be referencing reports from other experts, but I won't be testifying as to their reports.
Okay, and will the reports you're using be made available to us, and will any of those experts be available?
Those questions do not go to his qualifications to testify.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell, Mr. Charles Campbell.
Mr. Sander, can I just ask, before Mr. Campbell starts his questions, that Mr. Roseberry reminded to direct his answers to the board so that he is facing the microphone, that he doesn't have to turn and answer the asker so that we don't hear him?
Yeah, that's fine. Mr. Roseberry, please just speak into the microphone. And I know it's not the easiest thing to do and it's a tough situation, but thank you. Thank you to everybody for cooperating. Mr. Mr. Charles Campbell.
Sir, I understand that you are being offered as an expert in civil engineering and planning, is that correct?
That's correct.
Could you please define the field of planning as you understand it, that you are an expert in?
So planning is the understanding of, in Pennsylvania, the municipal planning code and its interpretation as it relates to land use and the various uses that are permitted in the municipality.
So that relates in essence to a legal interpretation of how the municipal planning code applies to your field of designing things, is that correct?
It does have an interpretation of the municipal planning code. The legal justification I leave to the lawyers, but I'm familiar with the municipal planning code, the subdivision land development process, and the municipal land use process, and that's where my expertise lies.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Any other questions for Mr. Roseberry? Okay. Mr. Heleniak, I'll start with you. Any comments at this point?
The township would object to Mr. Roseberry's qualification as an expert in planning. While his limited CV and testimony may support a qualification as an expert in civil engineering, Mr. Roseberry has not expressed any knowledge, experience, or specific training as a planner in Pennsylvania, and I think it's incredibly limited. I believe his testimony is also not credible as to his experience, as he has contradicted himself several times, but he has no experience testifying as a planner in Plymouth, in Montgomery County, in Pennsylvania, and therefore I do not believe the board should recognize him as a planner for these proceedings.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Heleniak. May I assume that the other parties who cross-examined Mr. Roseberry on his qualifications join in that motion? Is there anything additional from those parties? Mr. Berger?
I join in that motion, but I have a separate objection.
Okay.
He is unaware of the ongoing impacts of projects that he offers as proof of his expertise, and one of the projects that he offers as proof of his expertise is confidential and is therefore not even researchable to see if it's a positive thing.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Berger.
Thank you.
Any other parties or comments at this point? Okay. The zoning hearing board needs to discuss the matter, and we will be back in a few minutes with a decision on Mr. Roseberry.
Mr. Sander, may I, for the benefit of the board, may I redirect the witness on his qualifications briefly?
Absolutely, and that'll be it, and then we're going to make our decision.
So you were asked questions, I think, by Mr. Learman about whether or not, maybe with someone else, about whether or not you had ever testified as a planner regarding the impacts of a particular use, in this case a data center, might have on a community, correct?
That's correct.
And your testimony was that you had not testified about that, correct?
That's correct.
But, okay. In your work on data centers, have you worked on data center ordinances?
Yes.
And in working with municipalities and on behalf of clients in preparing data center ordinances, do you take into account the site suitability of the location of a proposed data center?
Yes.
And in taking into account the site suitability, what are the types of elements that are evaluated as part of the planning process that you've been involved in?
It takes into account setbacks, it takes into account the surrounding land uses, it takes into account economic impact, it takes into account public health and safety concerns.
Okay. You in fact work you're certified as an instructor by the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Education Institute, correct?
That's correct.
And in that capacity, who do you teach and what topics or subjects do you teach?
So I'm certified in the subdivision and land development course. I teach the course I've taught the course in Montgomery County numerous occasions. I've taught the course in Lehigh County, Berks County, and I've also taught the online course, which is available to every municipality in the state.
And when you're teaching municipal representatives about the municipalized planning code and the land development process, isn't it implicit in that process that site suitability and evaluation and impact of particular developments is part of that process?
Yes.
Okay. You were asked to describe planning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that planners synthesize expertise from numerous disciplines and apply them to land development. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So even though you may not be an expert in emissions, it's not uncommon for a planner to take into consideration emissions in evaluating a data center project.
That's correct.
And similarly, you might not be an expert in traffic, but you rely on traffic engineers and traffic experts in evaluating a site for a data center or for any other use.
That's
correct. And as a planner, there are a whole host of other disciplines that as a planner you take into account and apply to land development, correct?
That's correct.
And so as a planner, you don't necessarily need to be an expert in all of them, but you need to be able to apply them in a land use setting, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Let's let the zoning hearing board deliberate on Mr. Roseberry, and we will return with our response.
Can we recess, please? Can we possibly recess for 5 minutes while that is happening?
You want to be at the hearing?
Could we possibly recess for 5 minutes while you deliberate?
Yeah. This
we come to order, please? The zoning hearing board has deliberated the various motions, objections to Mr. Roseberry are overruled, and Mr. Roseberry will be qualified as an expert in planning and civil engineering. Mr. Campbell, would you proceed with direct examination of Mr. Roseberry?
Thank you. Give me for 1 second. No? Mr. Roseberry, what were you asked to do, what were you hired to do in this case?
I was specifically asked to review whether a data center meets the criteria of a special exception for the Plymouth Township zoning ordinance, which generally is the same general characteristic of other uses that are permitted in the heavy industrial zoning district.
Is there another criteria that we need to demonstrate as part of the special exception analysis?
Yes, the second criteria is related to public health and safety to ensure that the proposed use is no worse than any other permitted use that's within the heavy industrial district.
And those two standards, those are directly from the township's ordinance?
That's correct.
What materials did you look at in anticipation of testifying and preparing your expert report?
I reviewed Plymouth Township zoning ordinance, the Plymouth Township 2040 comprehensive plan. I reviewed site plans and project descriptions of the project. I reviewed aerial imagery and GIS mapping. I reviewed the Montgomery County Planning Commission guidance on data centers. I reviewed the preliminary opinion letter from Limerick Township, the letter from Upper Merion Township, a zoning determination letter from the city of Lancaster.
The township is going to redo its objection to those items.
I'd like to join in that
He just said he read them. He didn't. They have not been entered into evidence. He just said he read them. That is subject for cross-examination. Please proceed, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. Did you review any Pennsylvania statutes in relation to data centers?
Yes, the Pennsylvania Alternative Energy Investment Act and Pennsylvania's Computer Data Center Equipment Incentive Program.
In reviewing the Plymouth Township zoning ordinance, did you notice whether or not the term data center is defined?
It is not.
How about some of the other permitted uses in the, what zoning district is the property in?
Heavy industrial.
And are other terms for permitted uses in the HI district defined?
They are.
And did you look at another resource to identify some of those potential uses?
Yes, well, they're listed in the zoning ordinance as permitted uses, but there are no definitions of those uses within the zoning ordinance. So I had to rely on other online sources such as Merriam-Webster's dictionary to identify definitions for those uses.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Have you been to the site?
I have.
Share some of your observations of the site from your site visit.
So my site was limited to the perimeter of the site since it is a secure facility, but what I witnessed were numerous old, I'd say dilapidated industrial buildings, very rusted, pieces of holes in the steel. In addition to the industrial buildings, there were a smokestack, a wastewater treatment plant, a substation, as I mentioned, security, barbed wire fencing around the perimeter of the facility, as well as an adjacent rail line.
Approximately how many acres is the site?
66 acres.
And what zoning district is it in?
It's in the heavy industrial zoning district.
Is there a wastewater treatment plant on site?
There is.
In addition to the substation, does there appear to be switchgear equipment there?
Yes.
Cranes?
Yes.
Is there more than one industrial chimney?
Yes.
What uses are in the general area and the general proximity of the property?
So, to the north of the site, it's also heavy industrial. I noticed that there appears to be an automotive facility to the north. To the east, I believe that's light industrial. There are some recreation facilities to the east. To the southeast is a residential district. And then to the south is also heavy industrial. To the west of the property is obviously you have the Sector rail line and the Schuylkill River.
What uses are permitted in the HI district?
Section 1500 of the zoning ordinance details permitted uses. The first being manufacturing, second being casting of products, third being fabrication of various items, fourth being processing of various items, fifth being food service or catering, printing of paper, plastic or metal, research, development, and laboratories, and warehouse and distribution.
Are any of those uses, in your opinion, and we'll go in more detail, but initially, are any of those uses substantially similar to a data center? Is a data center substantially similar in character and its nature to any of those permitted uses?
I'd like to pose an objection.
Mr. Charles Campbell, yes, I'm sorry.
I'd like to pose an objection to that question. If the witness is being asked to offer an opinion as to whether this proposed use, whatever it is, hasn't really been defined or explained, falls within the special exception ordinance, that's an ultimate legal decision the board makes.
Agree.
And I think it's not proper for this witness to offer an opinion, his legal opinion, as to whether that is.
I agree that it is an ultimate legal question. However, he's being asked his opinion on that as an expert in planning and civil engineering, who will allow him to answer the question.
Can you restate the question? Sorry, you didn't hear it. Are there particular uses that you just reviewed with us that, in your opinion, a data center is consistent with the character and nature?
There are three uses in your zoning ordinance that I find that data centers are consistent with. The first being manufacturing, the second being research development, and the third being warehousing.
Please, we need to proceed. Everybody will have a chance again. Please, let's let the proceedings go without calling out. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Section 1502 permits certain uses as a special exception?
That's correct.
And specifically it permits, as a special exception, any use of the same general character as any permitted use, correct?
That's correct.
And so, stating the obvious, but is a data center expressly authorized as one of the permitted uses in the zoning district?
No.
And so, in order for it to be a permitted use, what's the vehicle through which it can be acknowledged or permitted as a permitted use?
As a special exception.
And in the event that the board determines that the data center proposed is not substantially consistent with those other permitted uses, is there an alternative method or venue by which an applicant can seek to have a data center approved at this site?
Yes, that would be a substantive validity challenge.
And just, I presume everyone knows, but for the record, my client has separately filed as an alternative to this a substantive validity challenge, correct?
That's correct.
And just for everyone's edification, at a high level, what is a substantive validity challenge?
Mr. Sander, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. It's not relevant to this application that's before the board.
Overruled. At a high level, what's a substantive validity challenge?
It's a challenge to the municipal zoning ordinance as being exclusionary.
And so that application is made as an alternative to the application we're here for today, correct?
That's correct.
In identifying what a data center is, what resources as a planner did you look at or look for to form an opinion as to what a data center is?
Well, we have to start with the definition of a data center, of which there's several.
And one of the documents that you said you reviewed was the Computer Data Center Equipment Incentive Program, correct?
That's correct.
And an excerpt from that statute is circulated in the next document in the packet, correct?
Correct.
So I'd like to refer to that as Exhibit A4.
Mr. Campbell, what was A3?
I'm sorry, A3.
Yes, I believe you're up to A3.
Which documents
We're
would be
going
marked as A3?
to refer to the excerpt from the Computer Data Center Equipment Incentive Program, in particular 72 PS 9901-D definitions as applicant's Exhibit 3. Does the Computer Data Center Equipment Incentive Program, which is a state statute, have a definition of what a computer data center is?
Yes.
And what is that definition?
The definition is all or part of a facility that may be composed of one or more businesses, owners, or tenant that is or will be predominantly used to house working servers or similar data storage systems, and that may have uninterruptible energy supply or generator backup power, or both, cooling systems, towers, and other temperature control infrastructure.
Is there another statute that you looked at in order to consider and evaluate what a data center is?
Yes.
And is that other statute the Alternative Energy Investment Act?
That's correct.
Is that also a Pennsylvania state statute?
It is.
That's the next document in the packet, and I'm referring to that as A4. In that statute, how is data center defined?
The definition of data center in that statute is a facility used to house computer systems and associated components such as telecommunications and storage systems.
Montgomery County, did Montgomery County issue a guide relating to data centers earlier this year?
Yes.
And did that document have a definition of data center in it?
It does.
That's the next document in the packet, and I'll refer to that as A5. What was the Montgomery County definition of data center?
A facility primarily used for housing and operating computer systems and associated equipment, including servers, data storage and processing systems, and accessory infrastructure such as cooling systems, power generators, electrical substations, and network hardware.
county also offered a definition of a data center campus, correct?
Correct.
And what's that definition?
That definition is a data center campus includes all of the structures and real estate owned, controlled, leased, or otherwise occupied primarily for the use and purpose as data center, including data centers, data center accessory uses, and all other systems, equipment, piping, conduit, and other ancillary equipment, structures, and other appurtenances that are incidental to and needed for the construction, support, operation, repair, maintenance, and protection of the data center and/or the data center campus.
So the context of the HI zoning district is a data center use of the same general character as any of the permitted uses that we previously discussed.
Yes.
So in plain speaking, can you explain why you think that a data center is consistent with or of a similar nature of manufacturing?
So first, manufacturing, we go to Webster and look at the definition. Manufacturing is something made from raw materials by and or by a machine, or a productive industry using mechanical power and machinery, or the active process of producing something. That's the definition of manufacturing.
And in what way is that consistent with what happens in a data center?
So you have to realize that data is a raw material. Data is processed.
Is there an objection, or you can't hear? You can't hear. Mr. Roseberry, you hear me talking like this?
I can hear you.
Yeah, do that. Definitely. I don't mean to be flip. You got to get into that microphone and really project. It's a tough room, and we've got to get it out there.
So the similarities between manufacturing and data centers is they both process raw materials. One processes a hard product, other processes data. Now, data is a raw material. It is used in a manufacturing product. AI is a product.
So, Mr. Sander, I appreciate the efforts that you've made to conduct the meeting and control the meeting. We can't get through a sentence or two without being interrupted, without the court reporters telling us to stop. And respectfully,
folks, really, our court reporter has to transcribe and put on her stenograph everything that's said by the parties here so that the zoning hearing board can make a decision on this. And the only way that's going to happen is if you guys don't yell and scream and clap and applaud and hiss and boo. I know it's an emotional situation, and I know that you are invested, okay? You're invested in this. I think that the zoning hearing board understands that and has seen the crowd and seen you tonight and understands that. But we will, but we have to do it in a certain order, and this comes first, okay? And we can't get a record, and the zoning hearing board can't decide this case if we can't hear the questions and answers being made because someone's screaming and yelling at everything that the witness says or counsel says. We have to let it play out, please. I'm imploring you, let's let this go without screaming out. We know you're into this and that you care about this and that you have an opinion on this. Everybody will get to speak when all the testimony is complete. You're not going to get to speak until the testimony is complete, but you're interrupting the testimony, so the testimony is not able to end. So let's let that happen. Let's let that happen, okay? Please. Now, Mr. Campbell, did you have where were we? A question for Mr. Roseberry? We have to let this happen, folks. We can't have these interruptions, please.
So, Mr. Roseberry, you were explaining the correlation between, or the similarity between manufacturing in a traditional manufacturing sense and manufacturing in a data center, and why they're similar in character and nature. Can you explain that again?
Yeah, I touched on the fact that they're both taking raw material, they're processing it, and they're making a product. One happens to be a digital product, one happens to be a hard product. It's still manufacturing. They are very similar in nature as to the size. The manufacturing and the data centers are both similar in size. From the exterior, the buildings look almost the same. They both use production-oriented industrial uses. They both rely on substations for utilities. They both rely on backup generation. So there are a lot of similarities between manufacturing and data centers.
And the site that's there right now is an active steel mill, correct?
That's correct.
And it has generation of power on site?
It does.
It has electrical substations?
Yes.
It has electrical switching stations?
Yes.
It has a secured environment from its perimeter?
Yes.
And it takes material in, processes it, and then sends those materials out after they're processed?
Yes.
Mr. Clement.
Mr. Sander, I object to this entire line of questioning. That use has been abandoned for quite some time. It has not, in fact, been there. It's actually...
Thank you, Mr. Clement. Overruled.
For the record, it is not abandoned. It is not as active as it once was, admittedly.
You move on, Mr. Campbell. Objection's been overruled.
How about quality control? Is there similarity between quality control in data centers and the processes there, and quality control in manufacturing?
Yes.
How about testing and assembly? Is there a correlation or a comparison between testing and assembly in manufacturing and testing assembly in data centers?
Yes, they both have quality control measures and extra tolerances.
Based on those comparisons, what's your opinion as it relates to a data center and its similarity in character and nature to manufacturing facilities?
A data center is the same general characteristic as a manufacturing facility.
How about research, development, and laboratory uses? They're permitted in the HI district?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain the similarity in the nature and character of research, development, and laboratory in data centers?
Yeah, once again, since there's no definition in the township ordinance, we rely on the dictionary definition for research and development, which is studies and tests that are done in order to design new or improved products.
Okay. And what happens within a data center that's consistent with the character and nature of the development of new products?
There's a lot of similarities between research and development and laboratories with data centers. If you think about it, they both require clean operating facilities and atmospheres to house sensitive equipment. They both require strict environmental controls, that's temperature, humidity, air quality. They both require high reliability, redundancy, and strict operational protocols. They both operate 24/7, 365 days a year with reliable power and redundancy. They both require the use of computers to perform extraordinarily large and complex calculations. They both perform experimentation, research, and testing. They both require high levels of security with access restrictions. They both have rigorous compliance requirements, which require documentation and audits, and both are centers of innovation and critical operations.
How about their size? Are there research and laboratory facilities that are similar in size to this 66-acre site?
Yes.
Do research and laboratory facilities need either on-site power and backup power?
They need a continuous power supply with backup power.
And how about environmental controls and for lack of a better term, chillers.
Yes, very strict environmental controls. I think they have, for most cases, research and development facilities that are working with things like viruses and bacterias can only have a 1 or 2 degree deviation in temperature. Otherwise, it'll ruin all their processes.
And based on those criteria, do you have an opinion as to whether or not data centers are the same, similar character and nature of research, development, and laboratory uses?
Yes.
And what's that opinion?
They're the same general characteristic as research and development.
The third criteria you talked about is warehouses, correct?
Yes.
All right. And again, is warehouse defined in the township zoning ordinance?
No.
And did you go to a common source to measure or evaluate a warehouse use?
Yes.
What did you turn to?
And the same. A warehouse definition is a structure or room for the storage of merchandise or commodities, or to deposit, store, or stock in or as if in a warehouse.
So let's go through the similarities in the character and nature of warehouses and a data center.
Sure. The data center does exactly what was just mentioned. It stores data, it processes data, but then it also distributes data. Product comes in, it's stored, it then goes out. So it does the same thing with digital data that occurs with hard data in a warehouse.
Are there different types of warehouses?
There are. There's a lot of different types of warehouses.
And are there certain warehouses that are specialized for certain industries?
Yes.
Can you give me an example of certain specialized warehouses?
So, a cold storage facility, one that has to maintain cold storage, which is a specialty warehouse that has to maintain a controlled environment because it stores food products.
Are there other industries that require controlled temperature for their warehouses?
Yes.
Give me an example.
Well, pharmaceutical requires controlled atmosphere for their product.
And so those warehouses, do they require substantial infrastructure to maintain the internal environment of those warehouses?
The same type of infrastructure as a data center require continuous electric supply with backup generation.
What about maintaining the interior of the data center facility and maintaining the interior of the warehouse facility?
Yes, they have to have similar controls on the temperature, humidity, and air quality.
Is it uncommon for specialized warehouses to have...
Objection? That's actually factually incorrect.
That if you think that's incorrect, you can cross-examine Mr. Roseberry on that point. Objections overruled.
I'm sorry, can you read the last question back to me? Is it common for specialized warehouses to have security protocols?
Yes.
What type of security protocols are common with specialized warehouses, or for that matter, any warehouse?
Well, many warehouses have the same perimeter security with fencing, could be barbed wire, they also have gated entrance and access.
What about on-site security and cameras? Is there a similarity between the uses that we're talking about, in particular right now, warehouses, and the on-site electronic security in a data center?
Yes, very similar. There's on-site security, alarm systems.
And there are restrictions in terms of where someone can be on a campus?
Yes.
And sometimes those are electronic, or you need fobs or other security devices to move to and from places?
Yes.
And is that consistent with warehouses?
It is.
And it's also consistent in laboratory research and development?
Yes.
And can it also be consistent in manufacturing facilities?
Yes.
Are you familiar with Governor Shapiro's GRID program?
I am.
With regard to energy, what has the governor recommended or proposed for data centers?
Mr. Learman, can you grab that mic, please? Thank you.
So we were provided a report moments before the hearing, and so maybe I missed it, but I don't see any reference to Governor Shapiro's grid program inside that report. So there's been no notice, and we certainly wasn't blood here on that topic.
He's asking him a question. He doesn't necessarily have to have a document to support it. He's asking him a question whether he knows, is he familiar with the policy, and he's going to, the objection's overruled. He's allowed to answer the question.
Well, the second part of the objection is that the grid requirements have nothing to do with zoning.
Cross-examine him on that, please. Thank you. Mr. Learman objected on two grounds. One, that there was no provision of reference to the governor's policy or opinion on data centers. That was overruled because he doesn't have to have a record or document for every question he asks. Secondly, Mr. Learman, that it was a matter of cross-examination. Mr. Learman, your second objection?
Was that the grid requirements have nothing to do with zoning here?
The grid requirements don't have anything to do with the zoning hearing board in Plymouth Township. See, she can't hear any of this up here because you guys are yelling. So we're just going to sit and wait.
Okay.
The grid requirements don't have anything to do with the zoning hearing board in Plymouth Township.
Mr. Sanders.
And I advise, hold on, and I advised Mr. Learman that he could cross-examine the witness on that element and overruled his objection. Is there another objection?
I was hoping before you ruled that the township would join in the second objection, as the grid requirements are not are outside of Mr. Roseberry's expertise. They are not a planning program in any way, and we should.
Thank you, Mr. Heleniak. Thank you, Mr. Heleniak. Again, that will be overruled, and the decision on that and the determination by the zoning hearing board will go to the weight of the evidence, and again, you can cross-examine him on that.
Can the township request that Mr. Campbell lay some foundation as to why this is within Mr. Roseberry's expertise, and he's going to be prepared to testify?
Request is overruled. Proceed, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to renew my objection to how this matter is proceeding, with all deference to how well you are trying to manage it. The last time you spoke to this issue, you said the court reporter wasn't fair to the court reporter, right? Because she can't hear what anyone is saying, she can't create the record. The reality is, it's not fair to any of the people who have asked for party status. It's not fair to my client, and candidly, it's not fair to the zoning hearing board. Respectfully, I would ask that those who continue to disrupt the proceedings be removed from the proceedings. I mean, we just
it's 9:26. We're going to break. I say it's 9:26. We're going to consider. How many more questions, or how much more time do you have with?
Oh, I have at least a half an hour left.
Half hour. Okay. We're going to break here. We're going to break here. We're going to break here.
I would like to make an objection to consideration of this testimony before we break.
And your objection, Mr. Berger, is?
Establishing his testimony, he referred to. Establishing his testimony, he referred, when talking about the definition of manufacturing, as looked to the dictionary. He then included an insensible definition of the word matter. If words don't mean things, I don't know what he's saying to cross-examine what he is saying.
But that is a subject for cross-examination. I'm not going to strike any of his testimony or overrule any of what he's said and what he's been asked. Everything is on the record, and you can cross-examine him on that. We're going to break. I think it's a good time. I think It's 9:30 now. We do need to continue this matter to a date certain. I'm going to frame a motion for the board, for the zoning hearing board, to continue this matter till its regular meeting, the zoning hearing board's regular meeting of Monday, August 17th at the Township Building, but that will not be a date at which the hearing will continue. That will be a date only set aside to make a motion to set a date certain for the next hearing. We are exploring dates in September. We need to know what the school's availability is. We need to know what the township building's availability is. And we need to know what the zoning hearing board and parties' availability is. We are working diligently on that, but we have not been able at this point to come up with a date certain that we can continue the hearing to. So I will frame a motion for the board. Is there a motion to continue this matter to Monday, August 17th, 2026 at 7:00 p.m. at the Plymouth Township Building?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. We are continued to August 17th, at which time we will determine a next hearing date. Would all of the folks who became parties tonight, please come forward and share with Mr. Rowe. See Mr. Rowe, man in black, not Johnny Cash, and give him your name and address and email address, please. If you became a party tonight, please come on down. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Oh, thanks. How have you been?